The disappearance of Princess Asheren brought the Varkal Dominion to the brink of war. She was the only daughter of Queen Calith the Unbroken, ruler of a species feared across half the galaxy. The Varkal were tall, horned, and plated in natural armor, their crimson eyes legendary for striking terror into even veteran warlords. Queen Calith herself had conquered 3 rival empires and crushed rebellions without mercy. And now, her daughter was gone. The palace alarms screamed through the obsidian spires of Throneworld Karos, and armored Varkal soldiers flooded the halls, weapons primed. Ships lifted from the hangars, planetary shields sealed, and execution orders were drafted before investigations even began. Because one truth was already clear. The princess had vanished from the inner sanctum, the most secure place in the Dominion. Queen Calith stood before the High Council, her massive tail lashing behind her, claws gouging into the stone floor. "Find her," she growled. "Bring me my daughter. Alive." Her gaze burned with lethal promise. "Fail, and I will remind this galaxy why my name is spoken in fear." Princess Asheren had not meant to run away. She had only meant to breathe. The palace was beautiful, yes, but it was also suffocating. Lessons in war doctrine, political dominance, and emotional suppression filled her every waking cycle. As heir to the throne, weakness was forbidden. Fear was punished. Tears were unthinkable. So when the anxiety became too much, she slipped through a maintenance passage she'd memorized long ago, following the quiet hum of the outer corridors. She wandered farther than intended, and finally collapsed. Exhausted, trembling, overwhelmed. That was how Private Daniel Cross, Human Guard, found her. Daniel had been assigned to the Varkal Dominion as part of a fragile diplomatic exchange. Humans were considered physically fragile by Varkal standards, but strangely resilient. Daniel's post was dull outer residential corridors, far from royal chambers. He was halfway through a protein bar when he saw a small, horned figure curled against the wall, shaking. His hand went instinctively to his weapon. Then he heard her whimper. "Too loud. Can't think." Daniel slowly lowered his rifle. She was tiny by Varkal standards. Her armor was ceremonial, oversized, and her eyes, burning gold, were squeezed shut as if the world itself hurt. "Hey," he said gently. "You okay, kid?" Her eyes snapped open. She scrambled backward, panicked, claws scraping stone. "Human," she gasped. Don't call the guards, please." Daniel raised both hands. "Easy. I'm not gonna hurt you." She stared at him, chest heaving. "You're not angry?" He blinked. "Why would I be? I left my post," she whispered. "I wasn't strong enough." Something in her voice hit him like a punch. Daniel sighed and carefully sat down a few feet away, back against the wall. "Look," he said, "I don't know who you are, but you don't look like a criminal. You look like someone who needs a break." Asheren hesitated. Then, very slowly, she inched closer. Hours passed. Daniel learned her name, but not her title. She told him she was just tired. He gave her water, shared his jacket when she started shivering, and talked about Earth, rainstorms, small apartments, ridiculous movies, and the pressure humans put on themselves. She listened, transfixed. "You're allowed to fail?" she asked quietly. "All the time," Daniel replied. "It sucks. But you learn. And you keep going." Her eyes filled with tears. Without thinking, Daniel opened his arms slightly. Hey. It's okay. She stared at him for a long moment. Then, trembling, she curled up against his chest, clinging like a frightened child. Daniel froze. Okay, he muttered. Guess we're doing this. She fell asleep almost instantly. That was how the search parties found them. The doors slid open with a thunderous crash. Varkal elite guards poured into the corridor, weapons glowing. At their center stood Queen Calith herself, towering, radiant with barely restrained fury. Her eyes locked onto the scene. Her daughter, heir to the Dominion, curled up, asleep, clutching a human guard. Silence fell. Daniel looked up slowly. Oh, he said. This looks bad. The guards raised their weapons. Queen Calith took one step forward. Then another. Her gaze shifted to Asheren's peaceful expression, the first genuine rest she'd seen in her daughter in years. Do not, the Queen said softly, dangerously, wake her. Every soldier froze. Daniel swallowed hard. Your Majesty, he said carefully, I swear I didn't. Calith raised a claw. I did not say speak, she said. She crouched, an act no Varkal queen performed lightly, and studied her daughter. Asheren stirred, pressed closer to Daniel, and murmured softly. Safe. Something cracked. Queen Calith straightened slowly, her fury shifting into something far more complex. How long, she asked the guards, has my daughter been missing? 6 hours, my queen. 6 hours. And in those 6 hours, the child who feared showing weakness had found peace with a human. Calith's gaze returned to Daniel. Human, she said. If my daughter wakes distressed, I will kill you. Daniel nodded. Fair. When Asheren woke, she panicked until she saw Daniel still there. Then she smiled. Hi, she said sleepily. Queen Calith's breath caught. Asheren, the queen said carefully. Come to me. The princess looked between them, and shook her head. I don't want to go back, she whispered. It hurts there. The court would later say that was the moment history changed. Daniel felt his heart pound as Calith approached. Instead of tearing him apart, the queen knelt. You are not weak, Calith said, voice trembling. You were overwhelmed. I did not see it. Asheren sniffed. He didn't get mad. Calith looked at Daniel. Why? She demanded. Why did you protect her? Daniel shrugged, uncomfortable. She was scared. Seemed like the right thing to do. The queen stared at him for a long time. Then she bowed her head. The aftermath reshaped the Dominion. Asheren's training was changed. Emotional strength became valued alongside martial power. Humans were elevated from useful allies to trusted companions. Daniel Cross was reassigned, not punished. He became the princess's personal guard. And sometimes, late at night, when the palace felt too loud, Asheren would curl up beside him again, no longer in fear, but in trust. Queen Calith watched from afar, learning a truth humans had known for millennia. Strength did not come from never breaking. It came from knowing when to rest, and who to rest beside. And once again, humanity changed the galaxy not with weapons, but with compassion.